Hola clase, we are going to learn an entire verb tense in about 3 minutes. So the other past tense, other than the preterite tense, is called the imperfect tense in Spanish. And so the preterite tense is when we know how long or when something happened, whereas the imperfect tense is an unknown amount of time. The imperfect tense's endings are right here. So for AR, please copy those down, and ER and IR, copy those down. Basically, other than the present indicative tense, every Spanish verb tense has the same endings for ER and IR verbs. This is going to be the easiest tense we learn because there's going to be no stem changing ever, no spell changing, and there's no irregular yo. In fact, there are only 3 irregular verbs, and they are right here. We have the verb ir. Ir is to go, ser to be, and ver to see. Hence the pictures that were drawn. So copy down the charts for these verbs as well, as you'll need to know them. I did put a shortcut of how to remember these irregulars. So the verb ir, to go, it would be a regular IR verb, except there's no accents, and they just added the letter B everywhere. Ser, it all starts with era, and then it uses mostly kind of sort of present tense endings. And then ver, it's regular, except they keep that E. So it's like the ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian endings, except they just keep the E. So those are only irregulars in this tense. So we learned that whole tense in 1 minute and 40 seconds. So as I said, the imperfect tense is for things that happen for an unknown amount of time. So I wrote a story about when I was a freshman at Dunlap High School, like some of you are. You can see the lovely picture my mom took of me on the first day of high school. And I'm going to point out why I'm using the imperfect tense in some of these places. So I'm saying cuando tenía 14 años. So when I was 14 years old, or wasn't like, I'm not referring to a specific amount of time, but I was 14. I just was. Iba a DHS. So many days I went to DHS. So routine action. Todos los días. So every day, me levantaba a las 6:30 para ir a la escuela. So many days, I don't know how many days, I got up at 6:30 to go to school. Por la mañana, todos los freshmen estaban en el town center. The school was way smaller then, so we all fit in there in the morning. So I don't know how many mornings I went to the town center as a freshman, but I did. Los otros estudiantes estaban en la cafeteria. So they wouldn't let the freshmen hang out with other students in the morning, and that was a long-term thing. So that's why I'm using this past tense. Todos hablaban y unos estudiantes hacían la tarea. So I don't know how many people, I don't know how often people talked or how often people did their homework. I'm just saying routine event in the past. So that's why I'm having to use this tense. Mi primera clase era español. Mi profesor se llamaba el señor Hatch. So I'm saying my first class was Spanish. I don't know how long that was my class for. It just was no specific amount of time. My professor's name was Mr. Hatch. I'm not specifying like his name was Mr. Hatch for 5 minutes. I'm just saying that was his name, general, very general, so I have to use this past tense. Escribía, he would always write on the whiteboard because there was not a projector. So long term, there was not a projector. Something he would routinely always do every class write on the board. Él contaba muchos chistes. He told a ton of jokes. I didn't count how many jokes, so that's why I have to use this past tense. So what you can get from this, we're going to be spending the next unit, so like a month on this tense versus the preterite tense. So the summary is so far, the imperfect tense is the past tense for a not specific amount of time or unknown. So here are the endings. Here are the 3 irregulars. Adios.